Imagine if you became the strongest being within your universe, but no matter how strong you got, no matter how many goals you accomplished, you continue to feel like you're a burden to everyone around you, that your mere existence was causing nothing but trouble and chaos. Imagine if some divine force like a god, a fairy, or somebody with a magical instrument gives you the opportunity to erase yourself from this timeline. You do it, knowing that everyone that you ever loved, interacted with, had meaningful conversations, moments, adventures will all cease to exist. Play out in video games and also in a very popular series that's taken the internet by storm. Legend of Zelda, in a time exactly at the end of the game, when you win, you defeat the big bad and you think everything's going well. There's a moment where Zelda feels sorry for Link and she realized she robbed him of his childhood. It wasn't necessarily her fault. It was sealed away by the sages when he was a child and didn't get released until he was an adult. So she wanted him to relive his childhood, so she sent him back into the past. Had a ripple effect and created Link's most tragic timeline, the adult timeline. In this timeline, Link goes back into the past. He loses his only friend, which was the fairy, which flies away and leaves him alone. Realizes that everyone has forgotten what he did to protect Hyrule, so he is the forgotten warrior that saved the world. He goes on to live his life and then eventually joins the Hyrule army. Then eventually you play as one of his descendants in the Twilight Princess Legend of Zelda game. It's about Link. Link goes back into the past. He warns Zelda. Zelda gets Ganon locked up in the Sage Realm. And from there, that leads into the events of the Twilight Princess. But you get what I'm saying. Everybody forgets what Link did, and that allows Hyrule to have some type of peace. And this happens again in a very popular series called Solo Leveling. See, in Solo Leveling, coming to the end of the series, after Jinwoo defeats the Dragon Monarch, we get to a point where he enters the River of Times. Jinwoo is given an opportunity. Everyone that ever knew him forget that he ever existed, and he was given the opportunity to reverse time back to a peaceful time period where he watched his sister grow up from the shadows. And another tragic ending in the series. Characters' existence caused more harm than good, even though they were fighting for the right things and had all the power to overwhelm their enemies. Their literal existence continued to cause more and more threats to come to planet Earth or wherever they're located at, disrupting the peace and putting the ones that they want to protect in harm's way. And this is the very same issue that Boruto is going to go down, the very same dilemma. Boruto is walking down the same path as Jinwoo and Link from Legend of Zelda. If I told you that the ending of Boruto has been right in front of our faces since the introduction of Shibai and also omnipotence, the godlike power that can manifest any possibility. And let's not forget the Jogan. How and when Boruto achieved this power and how this power is connected to Shibai. On the panel that displays 4D Shibai, when Ishiki was giving the god Creed to Code right before he passed away officially, we see Jogons all over that panel. What does this have to do with the ending of Boruto? Well, my theory and what I believe is, time we get to the end of Boruto, when it's all said and done after Kawaki versus Boruto, and the Shinobi world is going to be shattered, especially with the information we got in chapter 26, I believe Shibai is going to give Boruto the opportunity to erase himself from the timeline and also reverse the timeline to a place where everything was peaceful. That means no God Tree clones, no Code, no Kara, no anything crazy. It will be similar to the Legend of Zelda when Link went back into the past and warned Zelda about Ganon's uprising. Boruto would do the same thing, but he will be completely removed from the timeline. Nobody will remember who Boruto is, similar to what Jinwoo did in Solo Leveling. See, I pointed out a lot of similarities between Boruto and Jinwoo, especially how Ashbourne gave Jinwoo the Black Heart. It's the same way that Boruto received the Jogan from Shibai. I'm a strong believer on this account that all the events that's taking place in Boruto is being manipulated by Shibai, and Shibai is using Boruto as a vessel. So no, I don't believe Boruto is going to turn into Shibai at the end of the series. I really think that's kind of stretching it because we've already seen this take place. The reincarnation cycle of Naruto and Sasuke being Idra and Ashua Hagoromo and all that. It would be kind of lackluster for Boruto to be the reincarnation of Shibai. So I'm a strong believer that Shibai is using Boruto as an act of his will to go against the Otsutsuki clan from taking over and ruining his plan. I believe Shibai is actively working against Amato, and Amato is attempting to revive his partner, which is within Akabe. I know it sounds like a stretch right now, but just hear me out. Akabe is being set up to be the next villain in the series, so we gotta figure out what's gonna make her special. And I believe she's gonna have the essence of Shibai's partner, someone else attempting to achieve godhood. Said in Boruto's mental health video, since the beginning of Boruto Next Generation, Boruto's journey has been nothing but despair, failure, and anguish. Even though he keeps on pushing forward, he continues to cause chaos and problems within the shinobi world, which ultimately causes problems for everyone around him. Just look at all the events of Two Blue Vortex. You don't have to really blame Boruto for the creation of the God Tree clones, but he failed in his attempt to stop their awakening. Everything that Boruto has done within Two Blue Vortex to stop any bad from happening has backfired on him in different ways. Like even when he defeated Hidari, he wasn't able to get the Thorn Soul Bow to revitalize Sasuke. He also lost that and got shot in his chest, got arrested, and almost got interrogated to death by one of the Jonin. Look at Next Generations, you see that Boruto almost died so many times within that series if it wasn't for his friends stepping in and saving his life back to back. Even Momoshiki had to step in to save him after Boruto sacrificed himself to get speared by Kawaki. Interesting enough, we get to this panel where Jura says it feels like a divine intervention is taking place with Boruto. He feels like a god is looking out for Boruto, and that's why he wasn't able to kill him when he was attempting to snipe him the first time in the Leaf Village, right before Boruto was arrested and captured by Konohamaru and Kawaki. Wrong. Momoshiki feels the same way, but he just feels like Boruto is desperately clinging on to life. But we see that there's some type of divine force that's powering Boruto to get stronger and stronger. Suspicious that Boruto's only accomplice, Kashin Koji, awakened 10 directions right when he was about to die, and from that point on he's been an ally and asset to Boruto to help him get further using Shibai's own ability 10 directions. It seems like it wasn't for Shibai awakening 10 directions and Kashin Koji to insist Boruto in the future, Boruto would not be as strong as he is. You have to remember, Kashin Koji used visions of the future to help train Boruto to get as strong as possible so he can fight against the God Tree clone. That leads me to my final point. Boruto's character has always been about self-sacrifice. Boruto will always sacrifice himself for the greater good to make sure his friends can live a peaceful life, and that's what makes his character so appealing. Ishiki came to the Leaf Village. Boruto didn't run and hide. He used himself as a diversion to move Ishiki to a different dimension. Let's not forget when he told Kawaki, if Momoshiki ever came into my body, just spare me because I know my father won't have the ability to do it. Or even when he popped the pills that Amato created that could have killed him, but he still took it to sacrifice himself for the happiness of his father. Boruto is given the opportunity to restart the timeline, especially if something drastic happens to the shinobi world, like Kawaki said, the end of the shinobi. If Boruto is given an opportunity to go back in time, reverse everything, but also remove himself from the timeline because he's somewhat of a glitch, Boruto will take that opportunity in a heartbeat. Boruto's already setting the stage to sacrifice himself to defeat Jura. He's going to allow Momoshiki to take over his body, and he's trusting Kawaki to kill him once they're done defeating Jura. Proving my point that Boruto is willing to sacrifice himself to save his friends and family. He's doing it right now. I believe after when Jura is defeated, Kawaki consumes his Thorn Soul Bow, Kawaki's going to use that power to defeat Momoshiki in Boruto's body, basically killing off Boruto. This is going to trigger the awakening of Shibai, and once Shibai is awakened, this is when he's going to activate the Jogan in Boruto's eye, and Boruto's going to use that as a direct connection to the godlike being, just like how Jinwoo had the Shadow Heart that connected him to Ashborn. But that's it for this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I am out.